shall see. We shall see.
Didn't you go to a club one time somewhere?
Yeah, I went to Deluxe. It was fucking rubbish. It was fucking hopeless. Quality was appalling. It was just full of creepy packies and fucking money chodes, and oh, it was horrible. And the girls, well, they were all old. They were all old and they were all chubby and worn out, you know. It was nowhere near the quality of the street, you know. Nowhere near the quality of the street. Yeah, I think night games just such a waste of time. It's funny how, like, on the internet, guys who go out for like 8 hours at night, drinking, partying, getting home at 6, will tell you that spending 8 hours on the street in the sunshine walking is inefficient. And you're like, hang on, it's the same amount of time, but I'm not putting beer in my system and I'm getting a load of walk. And the girls are hotter. And it's like more fun. And I'm getting a good night's sleep. It's like, you know, like...
Next day you're alive.
Yeah, but the night game guys are, no, walking around on the street 8 hours, that's a waste of time. What you want to do is go and spend 8 hours in a nightclub drinking loads of beer, spending loads of money and ruining your health. That's the smart way. Fucking idiots, but...
That's what my friends start to do. Whenever we go to Cyprus or whatever, they can't even ask a girl for a time or for a good restaurant. They have to keep drinking beer and shots until 2, 3 o'clock. And then when they're almost unconscious, they start to do creepy approaches, right? And then the next day, oh, we were so drunk, man.
God, these girls, where we were
talking.
talking.
For the time, I'm telling you.
No, well, this is something I mean, Jimmy were talking about. Maybe I'll put a little fucking rant into my mic about this. Right, like, there's a lot of things you'll do in day game, well, like any other thing in your life, right? When you're learning a new skill, right? So let's say you're learning to drive a car when you do your first hill start, right? When you do your first 3-point turn, right? And let's say you get really good at normal driving, right? So that all of that is normalized. Well, then let's say you've got pretensions that you want to be a race car driver, right? You know, so you start learning the race car driver stuff, right? Like how to do how to pick racing lines, how to brake properly on a corners, how to like do traction control so that you can get out of the corner fast at the earliest opportunity, right? You'll learn all these special skills that I don't know a lot about, but race drivers have mastered, right? Now, the first time you do each one of those things, it's like a huge deal, right? But then you get to the point of like, say, an Ayrton Senna or say Lewis Hamilton, and they're just doing all that stuff reflexively, like it's nothing, and their mind is on, like, say, wider strategic issues or somehow chaining these things together in an unusual way, the way Ayrton Senna used to do. And I think day game's a bit like that, is there's all these little things which me and Jimmy were doing, which are just absolutely routine, barely think about, which the first times first time round we had to figure out this thing to do, right, because no one else was doing it. Then we had to go and have the balls to try it. Then we had to watch the reactions and, you know, like try different ways and learn from other people doing it, and all this like field test process until we figured out, you know, this is the right thing to do and this is the right way to do it. This little technical, tiny little thing, like a particular tease. And then we'd get so used to doing it that it's basically autopilot, right? Yeah. But you know, I remember, like, you know, the first time I started comparing girls to animals, it was like, ooh, I wonder what she's going to say about that, right? Now it's like nothing, right? And but yeah, so basically what I was saying, what me and Jimmy were saying is like the kind of like high level, super well practiced, super thought through stuff we do on these girls reflexively, they might be experiencing for the first time in their life, right? Every single bit of it to that girl is new, right? Whereas to us it's like the 3,000th time we've done it, right? So the way we can just nonchalantly, like earlier, where I just grab her hair, you know, for a long time it was day game standard, don't touch her. No kino, right? Never mind just grab her hair without asking, right? Right? And then never mind like grab her hair, look at it, laughing, and then fucking whiplash it for fun, right? But you know, like, I mean, that just came naturally to me. It just seemed like the obvious thing to do, right? And I did it with real entitlement, in a sense of normality, and she obviously fucking got that and loved it, right? But like, can you imagine trying to get a little fucking noob to do that, right? Not only can you, to get them the balls to do it, imagine them to do it at the right moment, right? Because that's obviously the only time in my day game career I've ever done that particular thing. It's just occurred to me, right? There is not a grab hair and whiplash it gambit, right? Right? It's not like something you read on the internet and go and practice on the next 20 girls, right? It was just suited that girl because of her crazy long hair, and that we're talking about it. And but yeah, it's like that girl when I did it, she was like, woo, fucking hell. Imagine what that must sub-communicate in terms of, you know, confidence, entitlement, social savvy. You know, it's like fucking hell. And I think for a lot of guys, you talk about these guys in Cyprus, right, that we're drinking with. I mean, they're still stuck at the first hurdle of like asking the time.
Yes.
Right, that's so far behind the curve, right?
And they don't even believe, when I tell them about it, they don't believe it. They say, nah, have you even met these guys? It's probably just a scam. You know, it sounds too beyond reality.
Yeah, well, we've all been there, right? We've all been in that position. But yeah, you're going to tell your mate, let's say you tell your mate, oh, I like, what happened is Nick like opened this like hot young lass in a dark alleyway. Right? And then started giving her a long creepy handhold and playing with her cheeks. She's like, nah, don't believe it, right?
I have it on my own tongue.
There you go. Let's get onto that side. There's always more people on that side of the road for some reason. Yeah, but like, for example, I remember going direct first time, right? Just going direct was this huge fucking death-defying stunt, right? I'm going to tell a girl early on that I think she's pretty. Oh my god, heart pounding, palpitations. What's going to happen? Is she going to call the police? Like, you know what I mean? And now it's just like, you know, not even at the stage where we just go direct. Now we're doing things like just looking into a girl's eyes, grabbing her hand, stepping in her and caressing her hand 10 seconds in. Not even saying, oh, I think you're pretty, just looking at it. And, you know, and the girls are taking it because they like it, right?
What will you be doing 2 years from now, Nick?
Well, unknown, isn't it? You know, you never know what the next thing is until you find it. I mean, my game now is very different than it was 2 years ago. It's the same structure, but it's not the same thing. You know, it's like what I'm doing now is not what's in Mastery. Even though it's got a, you know, recognizable structure, recognizable gambits, it's just not really the same thing. But I don't know exactly what it is and how it's different, which is why I can't write about it.
As you said, it's the jazz, right? There's no score sheet.
Yeah, but at some point I'll figure out a way to talk about it specifically, which will, you know, in a way that's able to convey it to people who aren't watching it, you know. But at the moment, I have no idea what that is, but it's from my provider, I think. Got to make sure I don't get too full of myself though, because some of the stuff I do in the street, it's so easy to think, right, this is the next new plateau, right? This is the new way it's done. This is going to show all those fucking idiots in the community, and then, you know, and then the numbers flake, and you're like, well, I might be onto something new, but I haven't figured it out yet. You know, there's still something missing, and maybe it's not actually all that new after all. Maybe, you know, there's a reason no one else is doing it this way.
And maybe you explain it through one means, but then it might be something completely different.
Yeah, that's it. It's like games about results, right? If you're not getting the results, you'd never get that proof that you're doing it the right way. You know, and getting halfway there is not really the same, because that might only work to get you halfway because it can't get you the whole way, right? You know, it might be doomed from the beginning, but we shall see.